We're bringing the fun. We're bringing the thunder. We are Funder, flesh and blood down under. Fluke, how good is this?
We're going to go by Fluke or John? We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that team. What am I going to go by, Paul or the tall Timmy?
I feel like you're both, and you're going to sometimes be one or the other. We already talked about that.
We did.
Like, you're gonna be Paul sometimes and tall Timmy sometimes, and that's unavoidable.
Well,
unfortunately,
it's funny. Even in my household, I usually call you by Fluke.
Yeah.
However, sometimes when I do say John, everyone looks at me and go, who the bloody hell is John? Who are you talking about? Even my kids know you as Fluke. They absolutely love it.
It's not a bad thing. I'm both.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of a checklist, guys. This is episode 1.
Yes.
Bear with us, feedback and everything. The main focus has been just actually getting time to do it. We'll try and get fancy with it, but for now, you guys know me maybe as Fluke or John. My channel's Fluke and Box. Across is Tall Timmy or Paul, and he's got a channel as well. We're stark opposites in the sense of content creators, right?
Yeah, look, you can assume that. The funny thing is can you believe it? Like Fluke and myself, John and me, we live very close together, okay? We're located in Sydney, Australia, and I believe this is possibly the only, or maybe possibly the only in-person podcast that's rocking around at the moment. And we're going to try hard to represent, APAC, Australia, New Zealand, and we both live very close. And believe it or not, is when Fluke went to a local game store, that was my original LGS from my Magic the Gathering days.
Yep.
And
it's literally walking distance from you.
Literally walking distance from Fluke's house. It's so good. And they recommended that you watch me. Is that correct? Is that how we connected?
Lindsay said my friend has a channel for Flesh and Blood. And this was COVID days. So Lindsay, like if you know the store, he's easily 5 meters away from me. I'm at the door. He left my bag at the door to pick up because it's click and collect. Through the mask, yelling over, Tall Timmy, I'm like, what? And then I'm typing it into YouTube, subscribed and went home.
And then the first time I saw you was actually on Louis Kitchen Table TCG's YouTube channel.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, you did an episode with him. That was many, many moons ago.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
then
when I liked Louis.
Yeah. And then I commented on that video, and then I believe you were trying to get in touch with me via Instagram.
I think I got Instagram because I didn't have Twitter, which would have been quicker. Instagram, I don't know. I got in touch with you.
I literally don't turn on notifications to anything. So please, team, like, if you're trying to get in touch with me,
tag him on Twitter. He definitely responds if you at him on Twitter. He sees that.
I do indeed. I'm like a bloody crack addict when it comes to Twitter. But Twitter, Flesh and Blood Twitter is phenomenal. If you look, I was very bearish about Twitter, but once I got involved in it, it's really good.
For Fab, it's good.
It's really good. It's really good. So Fluke got in touch with me, and since then it's been fantastic, and we've become quite intimate, and we share
intimate.
Yeah, very intimate.
You talk about the unboxing video.
Unboxing, release the tension. That is Fluke's favorite card team.
You know, I went back and watched that. It was a phenomenal video.
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was good. So Fluke, otherwise known as the Ideas Man. I'm just here to fill the gaps pretty much. But our content is very different. Fluke does, I guess, more long form unboxing videos, whereas I basically have a bit of a shit show going on, and I haven't.
Yours is more entertainment based, while mine's more opening and discussion based. Because you do skits, like you actually do skits.
I have, to me, it's just time constraint. I have that many ideas bouncing around in my head, but I just can't find time to do them all. But I still haven't found my rhythm. And a big shout out to Sloop Dupe. Quite a few months ago, I think it was maybe even last year, Fluke and myself had a very long conversation, and Fluke was talking to me about how he got into the rhythm of his channel and he picked his lane, he's run with it. And Fluke, you're having awesome success now. But
You're talking about Sloop.
Sloop, not
Sloop.
Fluke.
Yeah, because you told me that story. It's Sloop.
It's Sloop.
He was in a rut. Like, he felt he was in a rut.
Yeah, and
if you look at his channel now, like, every video is 1.5K, 2K. That's more than some of the way bigger inverted commas channels in the.
Sloop is killing it. And,
he is killing it.
And
guess number one, should we do Sloop?
Team, what do you think?
Should we do? Look, I've muted it. This guy.
Yeah, hey, Yazi, he's our best mate. Unbelievable.
He's the only other Aussie YouTuber.
That's right.
Inactive at the moment, again.
Exactly. So right now in the chairs here, we have the number one Australian, by the numbers anyway, the most popular flesh and blood YouTuber here, Fluke, and I think I might be a very close second.
We don't count Arsenal past Hayden because he's not even a citizen, I don't think.
No. Hayden's a Kiwi.
And half that channel is American.
Yeah, exactly.
Texan, of all things.
Yeah, that's right. Don't go to that airport, trust me, team. And, so I guess, what's the intent of the podcast? What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Well,
we've talked about, okay, Paul and I consume podcasts. We consume flesh and blood content, right? We're in this space, but I would actually say we're both more fans than we are content creators. If that comes across in our content, good, because I'm a fan first. I'm not someone that feels like my voice is important in this space. I only really talk because people ask me questions, or I never even talked in my unboxing videos till people were like, hey, it's weird when you just open without talking, like opening an alpha box and not saying a word.
I remember those old videos.
Yeah, it's like ASMR, you know? But what we wanted was, aside from when we make videos together, it's entertaining, we thought there's no truly, and I'm going to use the word positive loosely because there's many definitions, I believe, of what positive is, but there's no like hype channel, like hype podcast. Because I don't care about the negatives. I deal with that shit in my personal life, deal with that shit in my professional life. I'm in crypto. I've lost 6 figures in crypto. Negativity's everywhere. But this is my hobby, and I just want to promote it and grow it and have fun. And fun is the key, I think. Funder. There's many plays on that word. You're going to soon find out.
Exactly. There is many plays on that. And I'm the same team. Look, by nature, I can be a very, very analytical, pessimistic person. I can pick apart anything, team. I truly can. And, flesh and blood, it's a hobby. It's a passion. I like to come here to unwind, relax, escape, basically, and have fun and connect with people, like-minded people. So, again, it would be, low-hanging fruit for me to pick gaps in the game. We all know,
there's gaps.
There's gaps, of course.
There's gaps in the print runs, and there's gaps in the...
of course.
There's gaps in the dual deck. I keep calling it dual deck because there's a magic deck, the classic. But it's like also crying about speed. This is my issue with it, right? If it was like an electronic game, I understand that if I whinge loud enough and I have a big enough voice, maybe they'll patch it or fix it. If you're like talking crap about a game that's been printed 6 months ago, I don't like complaining about things I can't change. I never do in my life. I don't really, and again, you might say, yeah, but maybe they'll change direction. But if you meet James White, he's way fucking smarter than I am. And he's going to make mistakes. But the game, if you went to the PROTOUR, which is our topic for the night, you already know it's in good hands. Those guys know what the hell they're doing. Have they stuffed up? Yeah. Did they make the game during COVID? Yeah.
I know.
And I'm just here for the ride. The second is not fun for me. I'll just jump onto another game. The last thing you'll catch me doing is talking shit about it because it wouldn't matter then.
I have very limited disposable time. Okay, I very limited. So I would not invest my disposable time or money into something that I wasn't having fun with. When I get into things, I really do get into things, and I pick it very wisely.
We're both pretty fanatical about Fab.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was full on into Magic for 7-8 years, I didn't flirt with other games. That was my passion. And the same thing will happen with Fab. And the reason why I moved out of Magic after that good chunk of time was because it headed in a direction that I wasn't happy with. But so the intent of the channel is to, A, be a cheerleader, be positive about the channel. We also want to cover things that are happening in our local community. We really want to champion the new players, and we want to shout out things that we see in the community that might not be gaining traction and just really highlight those positive stories. We also want to, we're doing something unique here. We're in person. So we want to have guests in here. And instead of doing the type of, I guess, interview style of conversations, interview style of podcast, we just want to have conversations with people.
Yeah.
And if we talk about things that are, off the cuff and off point and,
hopefully we have guests that aren't even Fab related. I'm all down for that. Yeah.
Exactly. If we drift off topic for 15, 20 minutes, you're just going to have to put up with it. Some of these podcasts may go for 90 minutes, 60 minutes. Some of them may go for, 2.5 hours. We're just going to go with the flow team, and we're going to see where it leads us.
So some of our ideas are around it being more of a radio show than a podcast.
That's right.
We like our own voices. That's why we have channels. But hopefully we can shine a spotlight, like Paul said. So Australian community, we feel, is strong. I think
strong.
there's less toxicity than, like, in the global sphere of Fab. I think there's very little toxicity in the Australian scene, and we're going to try and show you guys that and how it grows in what we do. Our new players, talk about them, talk about our shops, our scene. Obviously grow our local community. It's hard for us to grow the US community or the European community, the language barriers aside. That's not our job. But Fab's global, so
exactly.
We want to talk to other content creators. We want to spotlight other content creators, especially new ones. There's a lot. We don't even know what we're doing fully. Feedback's appreciated.
100%.
Let us know what you like seeing, what you don't like. But 100% there will be guests on this show. 100% it will not always be two of us. Whether we're going to have call-in guests like a radio show, whether we get in person. We've got, the Sydney scene's full of very... If you watch my grading video with Mateo, the spicy meatball, we've got a lot of interesting, we have years of content if we just stick to the local scene.
There's a lot of characters in the scene, just so I like it.
Oh, yeah.
If you met me in New Jersey, I'm me. And same with Fluke. We are characters. We're very eclectic here down under, and we'd like to showcase that to the world. So there's plenty of opportunity here for people to come on the pod in person, and we can have a good time. So
let's
who are you first? Who are you?
Me?
Yes.
I mean, I'm a player more than a collector these days.
Yep.
Trying to launch a business means my disposable income is shrunk, but that's who I am. I play Fab.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is less important for the podcast, but I'm sure we'll do episodes about, I'm launching a business, so eventually that'll come up on the pod when I actually launch. Other than me wanting to promote, I think it's interesting. It will help some people out. And a lot of people have questions about the business stuff, but yeah, my channel, like I said, Fluke Unbox, I unbox stuff mostly. Trying to build some more player content. I'm going to play the Pro Quest to win. I'll be on Dory. I think
you're gonna be on Dory,
man.
Axes,
I went.
Saber.
No.
What are we doing? Oh shit! You going OG on us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I am not bad at the game.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I think if I spend,
am I better than you though?
I play more these days.
You do.
That's why I like.
But if we were gonna do like a best of 5,
we need to. We should do like a. We will. You will see a
I think
tournament
we're similar
on this
level,
channel,
right? You'd say we're
similar. I don't
level?
think I'm better. No, I don't.
We're similar.
I think right now, if we played, I'm more warm than you are. You haven't been playing. I think when you don't play,
I played a lot in New Jersey.
You did.
I played a lot.
I don't know what our record's like. You know what? It's funny because we play armories together, but we don't match up that often.
We don't.
It's like once a month I'll actually sit. But now that we have a channel together, we probably need to get like the classic battle and do like a best of 5.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And put stakes. Like you're going to have to shout out my channel on yours or something.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. I'm also the only non-brute Australian YouTuber because there's you, Yahtzee, and Hayden Dale, mind you, are all Reinar.
Everyone plays Brute in Australia at some point.
Yeah, I haven't. I've been smashing with my Kasai and Blitz. Brutes haven't been a problem. They keep rolling 1s on their scab skins, which really helps.
That happens.
Who are you?
Me, I'm basically just a filthy Timmy. Quite legitimately.
Explain that to those of us who never played Magic.
Sure. So,
Because I thought your name was Timmy because I didn't know it was a phrase people use.
So going back to like OG TCG's Magic, like there's an archetype of a player, and essentially that was broken down into a Timmy, a Spike, and a Johnny. And a Spike will always play what they perceive as the best deck.
Yep.
Okay, they're there to win. A Johnny is more preoccupied with doing crazy things. You know, they're Johnnies, I would say, be like your commander player, your combo player. They want to do big, elaborate things. They don't care if it blows up in their face or it goes off. And then Timmys are the most complicated beasts, okay? It's hard to actually define a Timmy, and I would hate to pigeonhole a Timmy, but, you know, use your imagination. But the whole point of it is, I believe, look, everyone is a little bit of everything, in my opinion.
Sure.
You know, I have Spike tendencies. I have, you know, Johnny tendencies, Timmy tendencies. But I didn't believe that there was a true voice for Timmys. And I strongly believe that you can only have a successful TCG when you have a legion of Timmys behind
I
it.
think Rudy agrees.
100%.
I do hear that term on his channel.
Most people are Timmys and they're in denial. Whether you are on the spectrum, whether you're a 10 out of 10 Timmy or a 1 out of 10 Timmy, most people have a little bit of Timmy in them. Okay, it is what it is. So I'm just a big thing is, you know, having a voice for Timmys. And who am I? So, you know, I thought about doing this.
You're tall.
I'm very tall,
Don't
6'6".
Tall bit.
Very 6'6".
Me.
Exactly. And, you know, I've got a YouTube channel that's basically, you know, it's just it is a bit of, I don't even know what it is, but we have a little bit.
Your channel is like a call center. You make a lot of phone calls. That's what
we do everything. I wake up in the morning and I just think, what am I going to do today? I talk to Princess Spike, that's right, my little daughter, and I say to her, "Hun, let's do this." She films and we do it. It's very bare bones, and I've done a few podcasts. You know, I just want to shout out Push the Point, Fresh and Buds, and things like that. I've explained a bit of my backstory, but essentially I'm here because I love the game. I document my journey on my channel. I try and inspire the community, get out there and participate. I'm a big believer in non-digital games. I'm a big believer in face-to-face interactions. That's why I love what we're doing here. I'm really, you know, I'm all about that. I'm all about networking, forming friendships, relationships in the flesh and blood. When I did a deep dive into the game Flesh and Blood and the intent behind James White's vision, it just ticked every box for me. So that's what I try and capture on my channel. I really want to energize the community wherever they are in the world and give people and try and help people have the confidence to go out there and to participate, whether they don't know anyone, they don't have the skills, and I just want to encourage them to get out there. So that's what we do. We do a bit of everything. It's a bit of fun. And that's me. And I'm a filthy Timmy Flesh and Blood player. I love playing the game. I'm absolutely addicted to playing the game, every form of the game. I want to improve over time. And that's me. I'm just a fan. I consume a lot of content. I love other people's content, what they're doing. I love the game. I can't wait to see what's in store for the game's future. I think it's got a very, very exciting future.
Very bright.
Very bright future. Geez, team, the game's not even 3 years old, and they just had a bloody Pro Tour with, you know, a couple of thousand people probably went through the doors that weekend.
Just got back from Jersey.
Correct.
Days ago, really.
Let's talk about it.
I'm not jet lagged anymore, but we just got back.
Yeah.
Less than a week ago, or just on a week ago. 1,377 is the number I remember. Unique players.
That's unique players. Yeah. That's not people that were in the building.
No.
I met
there were definitely people not registered.
100%.
Not counting staff either, judges.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of people. Obviously, they wouldn't have counted James White and Chris Gearing either.
There would have been a couple of thousand people that went through the doors.
I think it could have been close. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so. Let's talk about Pro Tour. It was a 3-day event. How was your Friday? What did you do? So you landed before Friday.
That's correct. I originally was going to land in America on the Wednesday before the Pro Tour, but I thought it'd be wise for me to get there a couple of days early, just anticipating jet lag, and I managed to do that, change my flights last minute. So I arrived there a couple of days early, and I stayed in a beautiful city. Look, I've been to America a couple of times, and just want to shout out to all of the American listeners right now. I love the place, okay? I don't know what it is about America. It's a strange land, but I love it. And I love every conversation I have with people there. Even though Americans, we speak, most of us, we speak the same language, et cetera, et cetera. We are different people. I often tell people that I'm as different to an American as I am from a Chinaman. We definitely are very different. Our social cues, our worldviews, etiquette, everything about us is different, and I absolutely love that. I love that. I think it's very spicy. So it was a great trip. The people were warm and welcoming. I stayed in a city called Union City. It was about 10 minutes from the venue, and it was also conveniently about 10 minutes from Manhattan. That city actually has the largest Colombian population outside of Colombia, and it's the densest city per square mile in America. Okay, I did my research. So it's not a tourist destination. So I got a great deal on Airbnb. I can tell you what, team, hot tip, if you ever go to New Jersey for another calling, check out Union City. So I was basically in this Latino neighborhood, pretty much, I didn't hear a lick of English being spoken for 3 days there.
Were you like 2 heads taller than everyone as well?
Basically. I pretty much learnt a lot of Spanish in a week. I can tell you that right now. So it was great. It was fantastic. I arrived there on the Monday before, and I was jet lagged for the whole trip, team, due to just pretty much didn't sleep for 10 days. That's what you do. But the great thing about that, team, when I came home, I didn't have jet lag because I was still on Sydney time. So it worked out that way.
See, I got there. I'm trying to even remember if I left, like what day I left now. Anyway, it was a couple of days earlier.
You got there on the Tuesday, right?
I think the Tuesday, or at least I left on the Tuesday, landed on, Tuesday night.
Yep.
That's right, because you land on the same day you leave. It's
Correct.
The way back you lose 2 days or whatever.
That's right.
So my girlfriend Grace wanted to come. You finally met her in Jersey instead of in New York City. Actually, you didn't even meet her in Australia.
Unbelievable.
Yet. It's funny because I see my girlfriend as often as I can, but she lives in the city. So when she's working, I'm playing, which is when you see me. When she's around, I usually don't go to events because she's here, which works out for me great because she's here the days there's not many Armory events, but you've never met her for that reason. So we booked cheap tickets because I'm like, 2 of us, blah, 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 more money to shop and sightsee and whatever. So the cheap tickets meant going to Canada, I think, land in Toronto, Vancouver, New York. It didn't make the trip lengthier, but it added the stop. Everything was running late. They lost their luggage. I'm not going to delve in because it's terrible. If you're on Twitter, you probably know. Had to get the luggage the next day. But other than that, spent the first couple of days just walking around New York. Pizza, bagels, I was surprised how third world it felt. Because, I've lived in Sydney for a while, but I've also lived in Lebanon, right? It didn't feel that far from Lebanon. Aside from Lebanon has more bullet holes and,
it's unreal.
Buildings are a bit more broken.
America has a wild west.
It's very
feel
wild.
It has a very wild west.
People are telling me that New York's really gone to shit.
No, yeah,
not all of it, but we were in Hell's Kitchen. I wasn't expecting rubbish on the side of the road piled up.
But did you ever feel unsafe in America? I never did.
I don't feel unsafe as a rule.
Yeah, I caught the subway at night, and man, I was
didn't
fine.
Catch the subway though.
Yeah, I did. I had no problem.
No, it wasn't safety. That wasn't my concern. I would have left if I felt unsafe.
The media here are saying New York is getting unsafe. I didn't think it was when I was there.
There was a mass shooting when we were there.
It was up in Buffalo. That was very sad, actually.
Yeah, another one today too. Insane.
That's terrible.
But no, I didn't feel unsafe. Grace, on the other hand, whenever I wasn't around, got catcalled left, right, and center. Yeah. Actually,
doesn't surprise me, Tim.
So she's shorter than me, believe it or not, and was walking ahead of me because she's more excited about getting through people and getting to the destination. I'm like, with my back pain and stuff, just like whatever. If someone wants to cut me off, I let them, kind of thing. Some guy woofed at her. And then looked up and saw me.
Was it a deep woof or like a chihuahua? Was it a woof woof or a
No. It was
woof.
a very your height, dark, handsome man. But then he looked at me and apologized to me. He goes, "Oh, sorry, man. I didn't know she was with you." I'm like, "Why are you apologizing to me? You woofed at her. Maybe you should apologize." Anyway, I don't care for that stuff. But that she was feeling unsafe when I wasn't around. A lot of guys would come up and like try and talk to her.
So
which
what
again,
Fluke's basically telling you is he saying his girlfriend's very spicy, very attractive lady?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. I think men look at it sometimes that do that and think like they're just flirting or whatever. But for girls on her own in a strange city, last thing she wants is like fend guys off. We'll talk about this like in a bar. It's different because it's sort of the setting to maybe like come up and say, "Can I buy you a drink?" or like, "Hey, you look good," or whatever you're trying to do. But on the street in the middle of a city, like I don't know how
20 years ago that was common in Sydney. It was more common in Sydney.
I personally, it doesn't happen to me, so I don't want to have a strong opinion about it.
Oh,
but
no
I found
no
it
one
weird that he
whistles, no
apologized.
one woofs at you.
No.
Oh.
And I don't do much woofing myself.
Okay.
If any, not much. Look, it's fine. She didn't like. She definitely didn't go out at night on her own. That was so she just didn't feel safe to do that. But again, I think women have a completely different perspective on how safe they feel or not safe. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I felt fine. I think like there's people sort of accost you more often to try and hey buy this ticket to a tour bus or whatever. But Friday came. So no, Thursday was fun because Saint was busy.
Now, what did we do Wednesday night?
Was it Wednesday night or Thursday night? I think it was Thursday night. Either way, before Friday, before the Pro Tour day one. Oh, sorry. Yes, that's right. Thursday night was the banquet.
Wednesday night.
Thursday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night we caught up with Saint.
Okay. Yes. See, now you're putting. I landed Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Gave Saint a day. Quick story. Fabled Academy was already in town hustling, contacting every YouTuber he could find, every player could find. So I knew he was...
Fabled Academy.
He's the star. He's the star of the show.
Leah and
Alex,
they're pretty much the sweetest couple in Flesh and Blood. They are the cutest couple. And I'm telling you right now, they are amazing people. And I really, really enjoyed my time meeting them.
Yep.
Getting to know them. I spent a fair bit of time with them on the Wednesday before we met with Saint for dinner.
Yep. And then they came to Saint's office. So before that, we spent an hour in like Washington Square Park, I think it's called, walking around, did a video with me.
That's a wild place.
Then they weren't expecting to meet Saint, but I was like, "Saint, can these guys meet you?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" Saint just doesn't say no. It's both a good and a bad thing, I think, for him because he did a lot that week. But and then we caught up for dinner. Unfortunately, and I don't know if they know this, but we'd already booked dinner at some fancy Italian restaurant, and then Fabled Academy plans started, and we couldn't fit them in the booking, and I felt bad having to say like we're going because 100% we would have gone with them. Sorry, guys, but
I didn't know that.
No, I'm just saying, like that's what happened, and we met Saint's wife, and it was quite good. But we're obviously glossing over details. But that was our Wednesday night.
I was basically the person that crashed the double date. Basically,
I invited you.
Yeah,
it wasn't a double date. I figured none of us are going to hang out while people are playing at the event with 1,000 people or whatever. So the more we could do before, and it was good because you did get to meet Grace, and then we had a great dinner, met Holly, Saint's wife. But that was fun. Then Thursday was the banquet. That was incredible.
And I was jet lagged and I slept through it.
That's right. You weren't there, were you?
So we were...
All right, anyway, on to Friday.
Thursday was fun. If it wasn't for Fluke team, I think I would have missed the whole thing. So you were messaging me.
I was.
Yeah, so I did suffer from jet lag the whole trip. As soon as it hit about 4 o'clock every day, it felt like I was...
Let's pause for a second. I want to shout out Matt Rogers here.
Yes.
I was messaged Matt at like 1 in the morning, which is like 3 for him or whatever, right? They're ahead. And he replied, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm sleeping New York time." And I'm like,
Smart man.
See, he's trying to win like I knew UFC fighters and stuff do that when they travel. They start eating the food where they're going if it's going to be very different cuisine, and they sleep different hours. I'm like, wait, so I immediately started doing that. So I was sleeping at 8 p.m. No. Anyway, I slept at 8 a.m. Was waking up 8 a.m. New York time for 3 days before I left, and I didn't get any jet lag.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
Yeah.
I was 4 p.m.
You couldn't have done that because you have like a real job.
Yeah, I've got commitments, but I was getting hit at jet lag at about 4 p.m. I was feeling like death, and then I would wake up at about I'd feel energized at 8 p.m.
Yep.
And I'd feel like death again at about 1, and then I'd feel wide awake at about 3, 4 in the morning. And that's pretty much how things went for 10 days. So
when it came through most of Thursday?
No. Like, I was meant to get there at 6 p.m. I had a shower. I hopped out of the shower. It was about 4 o'clock. I sat down on the bed and I passed out.
Yeah.
What
time
cold.
did you end up coming?
I got there because, thankfully, because I was so close to the venue, I saw your messages rolling in at about 6:30, I think, or 10 past 6, something like that. 10 past 6, your messages were rolling through, and they woke me up because the phone was right next to my head. It was vibrating and whistling, and then I woke up and I'm like, holy shit, I was meant to be here at 6 o'clock. It's 10 past 6, and I quickly got dressed, called an Uber, and I think I got into the venue at about 5 to 7. So I was only about an hour late, which might not have been a bad thing because I heard there was a massive queue.
There was.
At 6 o'clock. So I missed no queue. I literally rocked up to the banquet and I just walked straight through. Yep. I didn't get checked. I didn't get stopped. There was no one lining up.
It was weird because they were putting on the appearance that was super strict to get in.
No, I just walked straight through.
The second that all the players went in, all the staff disappeared.
There was no one there.
Yeah.
I just walked through the doors.
Did you hear Chris Sayers turns up wearing his leather hat with the beard, right? And because he's a freaking nice guy, looks for staff before just strolling in. And he goes, I'm here. Can I go in? Was the first mistake. And they go, are you a player? And he goes, no. And they go, sorry, we're booked out. He messaged him. He's like, man, they're not letting me in. I'm like, so I grabbed Chris Gearing, happened to be standing right next to him. I go, you know who Chris Sayers is, right? Chris was like, yeah. Can we go get him? So me and Chris went and got Chris Sayers in. But he was the only person I know of that got stopped, and I think it's because he asked. That was incredible. That was like, obviously, everyone's, not that everyone's nervous, but everyone is like there. Most of us haven't met. So you're seeing familiar faces, but James White did a panel, answered some amazing questions.
Issue was so I rocked up. I think that panel was about 10, 15 minutes into that panel.
Yeah.
And I could not hear
the audio.
A thing.
So they had two.
I couldn't hear a thing.
I realized later they when they started doing more announcements, all the speakers in the building were working, but for whatever reason, that panel, they had two big subwoofer type speakers, like just facing the crowd, like something you'd see at like a cheap rock concert. And if you're standing right next to it, it's too loud, but you can hear it. And anywhere else, you can't hear anything.
So, yeah, I walked into the venue. It was in full conversation.
Yeah.
I believe it was Flake and James White. And I tried to get as close as I could. I couldn't make out the audio, but, geez, I'm probably part deaf.
So, guys, if you haven't seen that, and you, Paul, if you haven't seen that on Flake's channel, 983 Media, whatever it's called, go watch it. It's got the proper recorded professional quality, because he dropped some spoilers and answered some spicy questions.
Yeah, I haven't watched
Bravo.
I'm still catching up. I've only finished. Yeah. I've only finished watching
that one's
day
a
one.
must watch. Like, that was the first impression. Everyone just arrived, and you've got James White talking to, like, the crowd's asking him questions one at a time, and he doesn't shy away from answering. He dropped some swear words, and he.
The famous
like,
ship it.
I'll tell you, yeah. And so someone asked about Stava, like, how the fuck did that happen? And James White goes, man, like, I can't do the New Zealand accent. He goes, man, we were testing. This was before Seeds ban. This is before Ball Lightning ban. So they've been testing Stavo for a while, is what he's saying. He goes, it was B tier at best. So I said, ship it. And people laughed because, now we know how broken Stavo is. But it's also a point in game design is he's trying to explain you create a vacuum. So, okay, you want Brian nerfed. Well, when Brian's nerfed, something else will come up. And Stavo took advantage of the rune blades being nerfed. Is basically what happened, and because there's a time delay in printing, is what the whole point. But that's a very good because Flake asked some questions as well. The crowd asked some questions. Very entertaining chat, and it was very hard to experience it in person. It's better to watch that online.
I didn't see you there when I first walked in.
Yeah,
I tried to get close. Like I said, I couldn't hear much, and then I'm like, okay, where are the Aussies at? Big shout out to RC Crew.
Yeah, they're all at the
and they were all at a back left table. I spotted them out, and I made a beeline for there.
Yeah,
grabbed some food. Jeez, there was a lot of food there.
The food was great, and
there
also
was
like a lot of
there.
it. Yeah,
a lot of food. The
So,
food was tasty.
quick tangent, RC Crew, while we bring them up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We're actually not there tonight. I would have gone if we hadn't booked the podcast in, and Paul's pretty time poor, but tonight's last armory for RC.
So what is RC Crew? So RC Crew is
it's an RC shop.
Yeah, it's a remote control car hobby shop that has an attached, like hobby shop, card shop, TCG shop.
And a big miniatures upstairs play area, yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know the details, team, but I don't know if it's the RC side, but I definitely know the TCG game side has gone insolvent, I believe, or they're closing down. And tonight is their last armory. So,
now, in context, guys, that's who ran the Nationals.
Correct. So
they're not and it's also that's Hayden Dale's local store.
All the best players. So the thing is this was RC Crew Games was basically one of the early adopters of Flesh and Blood.
Very
from my
like
knowledge.
they were buying direct from LSS for
correct
a while.
back in the day. So all the original players in Sydney, all the big names, the Nick Butchers, the Hayden Dales, the Phillips, the Roys, all the who's,
Well, how many people did they send? 6, 8 they sent to Pro Tour?
Correct. I think there was about 8 guys from...
which from one store is pretty good showings.
Yeah, I think there was about 8 or 9 of them from RC Crew that went over to the Pro Tour. Our head judge in Australia, Noah's from that store as well. So it is a very prominent store.
He's the only level 2 judge we have in Australia.
Correct. So it's a prominent store.
There's stores around. These guys will find a home, but it's sad because that is the premier. Like everyone knows, you go there and that's the highest skill level shop for sure to play in.
Look, I don't know the details around it.
As far as I know, it's definitely COVID related. They haven't been able to bounce back. On that note, and I'm not trying to call anyone out, but it's obviously I'm a problem solver by nature. I support your LGS.
Correct.
I know that store. I'm gonna put this out there because it's for other people. The store, the patrons of that store already know this. They weren't selling singles because everyone that played there already had their singles. What I'm trying to say with that is not that the reason the store went insolvent is the players. What I'm saying is if you're a player and you love that store and community, make sure you support them, like in spite of pricing and things. So if you're going to pre-order anywhere and it's $10 more from the store, that's literally the place that pays the power bill when you're there and opens the doors. And like this particular place at the end, I don't think we're even able to pay their staff as part of the problem. They were getting to that point where things are tight. Like, spend money in the store. I'm telling people, I'm not trying to fix the RC Crew problem. It's not anyone's problem to fix. You, in your store, go spend money in it. Pre-order your product. I'm not saying spend more than you should, but if you're going to buy a tunic anyway, ask your store first. See if they'll come close to the private market price. They just spend your money in the store. And 100% make sure, if you're a store, highly consider selling Flesh and Blood singles. I don't know how many stores don't sell them. That is where the money is.
You
can get product at cost and open it and sell singles. And don't worry about your local crowd. Sell them online. Sell them on eBay. Open a card store online. Yep. There's not enough money in events and sealed product on its own. That's my quick take on.
Yeah, I've spoken about this on my channel many times. Fluke just addressed it there. Number one, if you have a local game store that you attend and you know that you can get boxes 10-15% other places, pay the extra 10-15%. And geez,
or at least like if you're me and you're buying 10 cases, what I do,
yeah,
I buy a couple of cases from every store I play in, and then I go to the store where I can get it very cheap, or the supplier can get very cheap, and buy the rest of the order. And I make sure they all, like, what I try and make sure is whatever allocation they get, whatever's left, I'll try and pick up.
And if you're playing at an armory and you can afford it, I don't want to twist anyone's arm that can't. If you're playing in an armory and you pay your entry, buy a drink, buy a couple of packs, do what you can if it's within your means.
Yep.
And like Fluke touched on, if you're a store and you're trying to go deep on Flesh and Blood, you really should be considering selling singles.
It's not even just Flesh and Blood. Any game you're running in your store.
Correct. The LGS scene for Magic was built on stores selling singles. It was not built, and I'm talking about Australia, okay? Yeah. I'm not 100% au fait with what's going on in other countries, but in Australia specifically, it was all built on singles, okay, not sealed products. So I think if you want to be a profitable LGS store, you really need to be selling singles.
That's also your only chance of the swing. So sealed product isn't swinging like it used to. You're not going to double your money on the new Magic set or the new Flesh and Blood set. It's not happening right now. But what can happen is Wizard gets top 8 at the Pro Tour, and suddenly all those generic Wizard cards you put in a box somewhere are suddenly worth double. And they were 10 cents, and now they're 30 cents because people are building Wizard decks. Anyway, that's I didn't want to spend the whole time. That's unfortunate because that's happening right now, actually. That's the armory's on now. Yep.
Correct. So let's get back to the Pro Tour.
Yep.
RC Crew sent over a whole bunch of people. That's where I ended up on Thursday night. I ended up hanging out with that crowd and just soaking in the atmosphere. The tables were, they had candles on the table. The atmosphere was very beautiful, and it really felt like a celebration. And then what did we do? What did we end up doing that Thursday night? We had a great night. Remember what we did?
No, remind me.
We had a dinner with Chris Size, and we had the most entertaining Uber ride I probably ever had.
That's right. We went back into... Was it Union City where we went? It was definitely Latino neighborhood.
No, it was New Jersey. Yeah, sure. we went to where Phil. So it was it was Foo. So it was 4 Aussies, and it was Chris. It was Fluke, myself, 2 of the RC Crew players, Phil McKay and Foo, and Chris Size. And we went to
that Uber driver had the night of her life, I think.
Yeah, we went to Jersey Heights, which is where those guys were staying. Was
insane. It was great.
Yeah, we went to a little restaurant there very late. I don't think we got there till, I don't know, maybe
it was late. Yeah,
10:30 at night. We had a late dinner. And look, some of my best memories for that trip, team, were these bloody Lyft and Uber trips. I'm telling you right now, when you've got a bunch of Aussies in a car, we know how to turn it up. The way that we interact with each other and the way that we mock each other, and I don't think these Uber drivers knew what hit them. Anyway, we had a very, very entertaining trip. I don't know what else to say, but our lovely lady driver...
I don't think we can get into the details of what's being discussed.
She basically had to pull the car over. She was laughing so hard. Okay, she basically had to stop the car, and she could not believe the stuff that was coming out of our mouths. And most of it wasn't appropriate, but she definitely appreciated it.
It wasn't directed at her.
No, not at all.
She was eavesdropping, obviously. She has no choice. And she couldn't... She was trying to be professional, but that didn't last very long.
Exactly. And Chris Size in the background was like thinking he was on a trip. Like he was just like, "What the hell is going on here?"
It's funny because I've noticed, I've interacted with many Americans, but being there, you can see like Americans, and then there's like the Chris Size of the world that get Aussies, or get the humor. They're a bit more dry.
There's a few of them. Yeah, Rudy's one of them too. Look,
Rudy's definitely one. There
are a few Americans out there.
Let's talk about Friday. Our Fridays would have been very different.
Okay, so that was Thursday night. We had a great dinner. It was awesome. We parted our ways. It was really good. Then Friday.
So for those of you who aren't aware, Thursday night was just check-in and a banquet for the players. But if you were already in town, you could turn up. There was no event going on Thursday, actual play event.
Yeah, I guess the issue for me with that Thursday is when the initial article was released.
It was confusing.
It was very confusing. When the initial article was released, it sort of read like anyone who was attending the event was invited to go to the banquet. And then there was another follow-up tweet that was announced a couple of months later, like a few weeks before the event.
But also the only people that got invites to it, actual written invites,
yes,
was players.
Was the players.
Yeah.
And then we got another tweet 24, 48 hours before saying
there's a queue. You
anyone
can line
can
up if you want.
attend, but there's a queue. So I think that
and it was so misguided because
Yeah.
that was nowhere near capacity. Like
No.
by the way, not even half the food was eaten by
correct.
the time we
There
left.
was plenty of leftover food, and
Yeah.
I knew quite a few people that if they knew they could have
They would have come a day early, or they would have been there.
Yeah. So
for sure.
anyway, either
Look, there was only very small little hiccups with the event. Like Channel 5 did a good job. The communication could have been better, but honestly, running events like this is not easy, especially if you're trying to work around LSS and what they want to do, which the banquet is not a normal thing for a card event. Because by all rights, that building a week after we left ran a Pokemon tournament, and I think they run Magic tournaments in there. So I think it's Channel 5 will run a lot of stuff there, or other companies do. But doing a banquet the day before you're doing a card game is probably a bit tricky logistically, I can imagine.
it was a good time. So that
Friday.
was
Yeah.
and let's finish on Thursday.
Sure.
We ended up we ended up back at the hotel.
In the lobby, yeah.
That's right. So we went to Chris Si's hotel and we did a pack wars. We did box wars.
That's right. We recorded a video on his channel, because basically all these hotel lobbies right near the venue, people were just playing Fab in the lobby. So we ended up, we opened some Everfest downstairs on Chris's channel.
Yep.
Yep.
That was a good time. And we met the winner of Chris's Fable package
That's right.
giveaway.
The one that got they were having issues with the hotel booking. That was the pain. For them. Yeah.
That was a pain. But look, we had a fun time. We had some drinks. We opened up some packs. It was a good time. So that was our
Thursday.
That was our Thursday night.
Yeah. Friday, I had a plan. So, Rudy and the Unhinged Magi guys, so Dan from Open Boosters and Edwin from Magic Engineer, big MTG channels, all of them. Rudy's obviously across all the card world, but we saw them at the banquet. I went and said, hey, kept it short. They clearly, like Saint is in that group, and people were interrupting the photos. But I messaged Saint early in the morning going, hey, what's the plan today? Because I really wanted to try and weasel my way in. He goes...
Weasel your way into what?
So Saint and I were saying, I'm staying close to Saint. So the idea was we Uber in to the event, but Saint's playing at the event. Well, I figured Rudy and Dan and Edwin are not. They'll just wander around like me. They didn't have a plan. So I was trying to weasel my way into their group with Saint because I had to Uber in anyway with him rather than get dropped off. So I basically asked him, can I hang out with you guys? He goes, yeah. So we turned up to the hotel Rudy and the guys were staying in. Then Saint had to go play the Pro Tour while these guys were like half asleep because they drove 16 hours and want to have a second breakfast. We had like a crappy breakfast and we wanted to go have a real breakfast. So when I say weasel my way in, I got to spend most of Friday morning with like my biggest inspiration for getting into the card world, Rudy. That was fun. That was very fun. It was very eye-opening.
So you had breakfast with them?
So we had breakfast I don't know what the word is. Like they called it continental, but when there's no eggs anywhere, I don't know if it's considered breakfast. It's like
that's what a continental breakfast is. No eggs.
That's what it is. Okay, maybe I'm thinking like a breakfast buffet thing. It was just weird for a hotel breakfast to be so cheap, I guess. But that's what it was.
Continental breakfast is
like
usually
donuts
cereals,
and
toast,
croissants.
donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they weren't happy with that, which is fair enough. Neither was I. So we just fed Saint there. And then we went off, walked around, found like a little father and son bagel shop around the corner. Empty when we got there.
Was this in Jersey or Manhattan?
Right next to the event. So Jersey, yeah.
Sure.
Had a long, like a heart-to-heart chat with Edwin because I've been fairly inflammatory on his videos because I disagree and I still do with the spirit of some of those videos. But I'm also Aussie. Well, I'm me. Aussie has nothing to do with it. I'm very blunt. And I think Dan made a comment. He's like, I thought you two were going to have a fight. I go, no, like online, if I disagree with your opinion, especially if you're talking to a camera, I'm going to... Remember,
culturally, Americans and Australians are very different.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I found that over there.
Like I have zero personal issues with Edwin because I don't know him personally.
Of course.
And I'll say it because this is my channel, really. I don't have any issues with Louis from Kitchen Table TCG personally either. If I met him in real life, I'd probably give him a hug. Aside from that, if I think what you're saying is bullshit, it's bullshit. But I do the same with Paul. Like, there's plenty of bullshit everywhere. And when it's my hobby and I'm a content creator in the hobby, I feel like there's some onus on me to respond to some stuff. Regardless, Edwin and I had a great chat. And he was like, the chat went from, you don't hate me, you want to hit me, to, what am I doing wrong? Like, he was saying, like, I do my research and I look into it and my opinion's valid. Like, and I go, your opinion's valid, but you're doing it in a vacuum, you and your mate to a camera. There's no friction. And when people hear an opinion they disagree with and no counter voice, they can get emotional about it, or they can respond like defensively because they're like, you're attacking something I love, if they perceive it as an attack. But anyway, we had this chat while we're walking to breakfast and completely buried the hatchet. And then it was fun watching Rudy get accosted by nerds all day. Like, the guy can't
he
go
would
anywhere.
love that.
He does. He's actually amazing. Because he's to me, he's famous, like not like celebrity famous, but in the right context, he's very famous. More famous than James White by far, but has time for everyone. We'll take photos. We'll make a joke. Like, he's definitely not standoffish, even though there's nothing in it for him, right? He's a nice guy, genuinely a very nice guy, genuinely a very generous guy. But what was great was, like, someone came up to me while I'm at the table with Rudy and goes, Fluke, can I get a photo? And I go, Rudy, see, I'm more famous than you. And he cracked up. He loves Aussie humor. He loves you. I know you interacted with him. But that was very eye-opening, hanging out with those guys. Because I watched their videos. It's weird watching people and then actually meeting them. They're all very much who they are on camera. There's no fakeness about it.
Yeah, I've been watching Open Boosters and Edwin when they had separate channels.
Yep.
Right. I've been watching Rudy since before he had, I don't know, I think he had like 14,000 subs. Yep. I've been entrenched in that content for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And Unhinged Magi, they merged, or they're doing content together because they've relocated. They live in the same area. You know, they I think they made some content. I didn't agree with it either. Okay, I think it was misguided.
Here's something that's common knowledge now. They had a meeting with James White about that.
Yeah, look,
and the thing is, I think going to that event, if we have to put a positive spin on it before I let you finish, going to that event, a lot of your arguments went out the window.
Of course, I stay well out of that, especially on my channel. I don't get involved in that. That's not my space, and. You know, I met the guys for the first time. You know, as soon as I saw Rudy on the Friday, had a quick embrace with him, and then straight away I looked at Open Boosters and Edwin and shook their hand, introduced myself.
But I think
to him.
everyone did that.
Yeah, of course.
I think maybe some people gave him like a weird. But the thing is, that's the thing, and this is.
They came across to me like very friendly people.
I'm going to sound like a religious nut, but this is like what I saw through the event. James White knows exactly what he's doing.
Of course, yeah.
When you put people in a room, differences aside, there's still the animalistic primal nature of like, very few people want confrontation face to face. Online's easy, it's cheap, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
You can say whatever you want online. You can literally say whatever you want, but say it to most people's face takes a whole different. Your blood curls. You get sweats. Like, if you're gonna confront someone, there's like a real visceral reaction.
Look,
who had a confrontation at that event? 1,300 people from what we saw.
One.
No,
that's a good point. Yeah. Not today,
it's
but
in the flesh and blood.
Another time, I'll give a very good example of a negative interaction that I witnessed on Magic the Gathering's first ever Mythic Championship that was done via the Arena platform.
Right.
So basically, it was a bunch of pros that sat in a room, play behind computers, which I think is complete freaking rubbish. And I saw something that was actually piss poor, and that was basically because what happens is, if you're so used to playing behind a computer, you lose that. You lose that finesse, that touch, that
Tact.
bedside manner, that tact. Exactly. You lose that. You lose how to be a good person. You know, there's no facade when I'm talking to you right now, and I'm very passionate about that on my channel. I talk about that all the time, and that's why I'm such a strong believer in Flesh and Blood, and that's why I'm such a strong believer that it can enhance your life. And people that are sitting behind the computer,
it needs to be protected.
100%.
As much fault as it has, if the game is still a vessel to bring people in front of each other to play, it could literally bring people out of suicidal tendencies because they're not alone.
Exactly.
It can actually form lifelong friendships.
That's right.
So be careful how much you attack something like that. You can have a voice and opinion, but I am very defensive about it.
Look, it gave me a new lease on life. Geez, before Flesh and Blood came into my life, because I'd exited out of Magic for 18 months or so, I pretty much became a workaholic. Like I was just living for work and becoming somewhat miserable, and I was driving the Tan Princess up the wall, no doubt. And this gave me a new lease on life. It gave me something to be passionate about because I love people. I love hanging out with people, networking, and the vessel that how I enjoy to do that is through card games, TCGs, because I've had a passion for fantasy and fiction since I'm
definitely a topic which you're going to hear on this podcast a lot.
Yeah,
the whole Flesh and Blood thing, it works.
It does,
and it should only be treated positively. You start delving into some of the details and the meta and do it. I'm not even saying not to do it, but always take it back to what is the game for?
Exactly.
And what does it do? What does it bring to your life? Because if all you're seeing is, I bought a Cold Foil Duskblade and then I banned it and I hate the game, it's really not the game for you.
Exactly.
Because by the way, you will be disappointed again and again. They print a game and then they make mistakes, and I got to fix them.
Look, the game is not for tracking your spreadsheets every week. Jeez,
no.
There's been times in the last 50 years. Look, I like real estate. There's been times in Sydney real estate in the last 50 years where the market's gone sideways for 12 years.
Yeah.
So imagine if the TCG market in Magic went sideways for 7 or 8 years. Like, why the hell are you looking at your spreadsheet every week on a market that's going sideways?
It's always
for
weird
7
to
years?
me, and we're obviously off on a tangent now, but
that's what we do. That's what we do.
It's so weird to me that you're collecting something people play with instead of buying shares or equities or property or anything else. Even crypto is more of an investment tool than a card game is. Aren't you doing it because like car collectors do, because there's some joy in it? So if you lose all your money, at least you have the car. Like that's the point, right? Is we open packs because there's a bit of gambling thrill, but then I actually have cards that I can play with. And if you're not deriving joy from that, you're in the wrong place. So if you only want a spreadsheet track as an example, there's so much more fulfilling, more established ways to do that.
That's right.
You know what I think? I think people don't do it because they're fucking bad at it. No, I'm serious. I think some of these guys, they wouldn't make it as a day trader. They couldn't get a job on Wall Street, so they do it in the card game.
There's plenty of people out there in Flesh and Blood giving so-called investment advice that don't know a fucking thing about investments. And sorry about the cursing. And there's plenty of fucking people out there.
It's called fucked. No,
there's plenty of people out there in Flesh and Blood that are giving game design advice that have no fucking authority.
They're receptionists or whatever the fuck they do for
like, they've never created a game. They've got no idea what they're doing.
By the way, even if you've created a game, even if you have, if it wasn't a good game, you don't have an opinion.
But it's like, okay, it's like, oh, hey, I created a YouTube channel 18 months ago and I like Flesh and Blood. Therefore, I'm an authority.
Entitled.
Yeah, I'm entitled, or I'm an authority on TCG games, how they should be marketed, how they should be developed, how they should be fucking run. And I'm an authority on market movements. And please settle down. You literally aren't. You're not an authority on the subject.
And one person in our space that is, and there's really only one obvious one, which is Rudy, who actually worked on Wall Street. He's still wrong a lot of the time. But if you meet him in person, but even if you just watch his videos, he's truly passionate.
The people that have
he
the
truly
most...
loves it. Like even if his collection goes to zero, yes, it'd hurt him financially, but he truly loves that shit. Like he's not doing it for money with a full stop after it. There's more to it than
The
that.
people that have the most authority or the best insights on these subjects make the less noise.
Yes.
Okay, I'll probably leave it at that. So, what else did you do on Friday? Did you play in any side events of the Pro Tour?
I played one side event the whole
On
time.
Friday?
Yeah, it was a CC. Was it Friday? Yes, it was Friday. CC event.
The
I went
12 o'clock
3-1
one.
with Dawn Blade Dory.
The 12 o'clock one, the one I was in.
The CC one?
I
No,
played-
I finished at 8, so I think I played the 4 o'clock one.
So here's one more look. I'm not going to complain too much about the event, but I said this to people many times on the Friday. Are fucking Channel Fireball allergic to money? Are these TOs not wanting to make money?
100%. It was
like,
weird.
seriously, if you're running an event like this and you're paying a day rate for a venue, because I'm assuming you're paying
Sell
a
as many
day rate
tickets as you
for a
can.
venue, why are you not kicking off your side events at 9:30 a.m.?
Well, that's
I
true
was
too.
up. I was at the venue on Friday.
We all were. Like,
I think I was
everyone
there at like
having breakfast
8:30.
with- Yeah.
I think I was there at 8:30 in the morning. Like,
Two
and I
things they should have done for money.
yeah,
If they had a proper place to eat, like get a food van outside that'll cook eggs in the morning, so people go straight to the venue. And second, just start the event,
dude, I was rolling
Start the events.
I was rolling my dice for that first CC event. I think it was 1 p.m.
At which
1 p.m.
most
So that,
of us, like think about it. We said 1,377 people. How many people were at the Pro Tour? 300 and something, right? Which means by day 2, which is Saturday, half. So there's over 1,000 people not there.
I only got to
Yeah.
play. I only got to play one event on Friday. In an ideal world, I should have played minimum 2.
Yeah.
Minimum. Okay. I
Especially
played.
blitz events. They're so quick. 3-round blitz event. Like
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but what was our? I think it was was it a 5-rounder? It was.
I didn't play it.
Yeah. So I
I played a 4-round CC.
I think it was 5 rounds. The event I played. I think I was rolling my dice. It advertised to start at 12. I don't think I was rolling my dice to 1. I went 3-1-1.
Yeah.
In that event. So 3 wins, a draw, and a loss. Great event, by the way, but jeez, it should have started at 9:30.
Yeah.
That was 5
Again,
rounds.
The one event I played, I left at 8:30.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which is true. Like, unless you're in the
Ridiculous.
calling or Pro
Yeah.
Tour, that's
Stupid.
a lot for a side. Because literally, like, all my friends that I wanted to hang out with went an 8 already.
Yeah, it's like I finished that event and whatever time it was, 6, 7.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, am I going to enter in another event and leave this place at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night?
But again, the overarching thing is huge success. Like, we're talking
yeah.
98% of that 3-day weekend was positive. The
100%.
few things are like, again,
Yeah,
it's like,
simple thing.
would have been great if it was earlier, but at the end of the day, it was run pretty well for how big. I actually think Channel Fireball underestimated Flesh and Blood and that event, because I don't think they even had the staff to manage that amount of people, and that's what was breaking at the seams more than the event being bad. They literally didn't have enough, like. Yeah, especially, which was, I thought usually these events would quiet down by the Sunday. Sunday was packed. Sunday was packed. That was the calling.
But I had some really good games on Friday though.
Yeah.
I played Reiner. That was my warm up event, and like we said at the start of this podcast, I am a filthy Timmy player. I love playing the game. Throughout all 3 days, I played to the last round. A lot of people were coming up to me saying, why are you playing all the rounds? Like, I didn't go there to that event.
Yeah.
With
That's a weird
my
thing for me.
intent wasn't there to make content.
Yeah.
My intent was to meet people, connect with people, build memories, and play the game and enjoy the event.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And on Friday, I had some fantastic opponents. I had some really good opponents, and a big shout out to the other genders out there, not just males. And over the weekend, I think I played against 5 or 6 females. Shit,
Yeah.
I'd been playing Magic competitively, GPs all over the world, interstate, all through Australia, or massive tournaments. I've never paired into a female. I play one weekend of Flesh and Blood and I pair into 5 or 6 females. What does that tell you? Even my wife, she's been with the journey with me through Magic and now Flesh and Blood, and she even tells me she is so much more attracted to Flesh and Blood.
Yep.
There's something about the game that is more
think the
inclusive.
fact-
It's more inclusive.
Maybe it's
I
like
don't know.
very surface level, but the fact that there's like strong female
There's a-
characters,
I think
like
there's a-
like
yeah.
Flesh and Blood haven't. I haven't done, now that I think about it, what the ratio is, but it feels like it's half, right?
I just-
like there's very strong heroes.
I don't know if it's the artwork or the permanence on the battlefield. I don't know what it is. I'm going to talk to, the Tam Princess about it more. But it was amazing. So my opponents on the Friday were fantastic. And I actually paired into my last round against Carolina, I think it is. The lovely lady that won. Exude.
Yeah.
She won the fan cosplay
is
competition.
confusing to
I
me,
paired
right?
against her
Everyone
against
said
Dash.
she won.
She did.
And then the guy that won the UPF tournament said he won.
No.
No, he did. Because he won a Taylor. They must have crowned 2 winners. They had to.
Well, she won a Taylor. I thought.
That's my point. I think so. I heard what seems to have happened. No one's confirmed it. There was obviously the 2 official cosplayers, Dory and Prism, walking around. I forget their names, but they're both prominent cosplayers, like that were paid by LSS or invited by LSS and got Taylors. Then 2 more Taylors were given because I think there was supposed to be a law book given to the runner-up.
There was
but then there was no law book given to the runner-up.
There
it was
was
a Taylor, and then the law book went to the UPF. Sorry, to the commoner. There's 4 Taylors in the world right now. One of them's by a guy who won the
Cav. Was that the
Cavdane? Yeah.
Yeah. No, he didn't come first.
I didn't say he came first, but he got given a Taylor.
Of course, yeah, that's fine, but he didn't win it. I guarantee you, Exude
I know
won
Exude
the
won,
contest.
but clearly they gave him a runner-up prize, which is a Taylor as well.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's great. I just by the way, there was like the guy that was dressed as a ninja. I was like hoping he would win. It looks so amazing. But
Yeah,
they
I had a
can't
few
give
chats to him. It was good.
Yeah.
But that cosplay competition was amazing. But yeah, the point is I had some great games. Jeez.
No, and there was a female presence for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
there was a massive female
as in
presence. It was awesome.
no one was shy. Like they were out talking to everyone. I
Jeez.
think that they felt safe, as far as I could tell.
I'm telling you right now,
yeah.
I squeaked that win against
Well, speaking of
Carolina.
females, one of the Australian females, Laura, who's Luke Fletcher's partner from Melbourne. He's like rank 1 XP and one of the higher rated players in Australia. Saint was her first matchup, and she drew 2 hands with full reds and lost. And Saint was like, I feel bad because I'm not a real player. And she's clearly better, but that was her experience with Saint Hung. Imagine getting beaten by someone who, I mean, he can play. He knows how to play.
Yeah, he knows how to play.
He wouldn't have, she flew from Australia to play the Pro Tour. She was hoping to do better than that.
So what'd you do Friday night?
It's a blur to me now. I think, trying to remember. I think I hung out with Chris and Richard. Maybe that was the night where we sat in the lobby. You weren't there.
No, I had a big night on Friday night. Okay, I would advise you not to do that. Okay, if you're playing in the calling first thing Saturday morning, please get your sleep. But I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. I ended up connecting with a whole bunch of subscribers of mine.
Yep.
And shout out to the North Carolina guys. Some of my OG subscribers I met up with, and I spent a lot of time with them over the weekend because that's the type of person I am. I like hanging out with people, and it was fantastic. And they took me out for dinner on Friday night. We had I think they call it hibachi in America. We call it teppanyaki, right? Yep. So when the guy cooks in front of you. We had a fun night. That was right next to the venue, and then we ended up bar hopping through Jersey that night and playing pool and going to a few unsavory venues. But oh my gosh, it was a lot of fun. And I think I rolled back into my Airbnb at 2:30 in the morning. It was rough.
See, that night we went to Rudy's hotel. Everyone was in the lobby, and then I Edwin and Dan and Rudy had play mats in front of them, Flesh and Blood ones. I'm like, you guys play? But Edwin's like...
Yeah, they play.
No, so Rudy and Dan clearly way more casual. I think they know how to play, but are not as like... They weren't that... But Edwin had his decks out, showing people, asking
What did he
questions.
have out?
Dash.
Okay.
And I'm looking and I see a rainbow foil pistol. I go, aren't you like a magic millionaire? Like, what's going on? He goes, no, they're the like magic millionaires. Like, I've got a big collection, but like dwarfed by these two. So I gave him, my giveaway folder. See, people in the local scene know I've got a red folder that I give shit out.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, see, this is why I want this channel, right? I give away promos. I don't sell promos. It's not because I'm rich. By the way, I've never even referred to myself as rich or a whale. I want to be clear about that. Louis started the whale thing. He goes, can I title it whale? I go, you can title it whatever you want.
Crypto whale.
Yeah, but not the case. I'm not worth anything over 7 figures. I'm just not. It's fact. So when I give stuff away, I could sell it, but I go, if I want it in an armory, I want it. So I'll keep the growth, like pass it forward type of thing. So I gave Edwin a cold foil pistol, and I gave Dan, who plays Ninja, a cold foil Kodachi. Now that one's expensive. He was mind blown. I'm like, no, but that's what we do. Like, if you come to our armories and you're a Ninja player and there's a cold foil Kodachi as a promo, you're probably going to get it if I'm around. And playmats, for sure. Playmats we give to new players if we can. Even when they're worth $100 or were worth 100, 150, so like 80 US. It's a playmat. If they don't have one, and Flesh and Blood doesn't really have like, I can go up to the counter and buy a playmat, right? Right, and it's just not a thing. But yeah, we Philip McKay was with me, and we played a game and sort of talked them through it. I beat him again. Shout out Philip McKay.
How'd he take that?
He's fine. I mean, Blitz is so luck based. On Kasai, if I get to do my thing and Briar doesn't get an extra turn, it's always one turn away, right? Yep. Like Blitz is never CC. The wrong matchup, Oldham versus Prism. Prism's got 38 health when the game ends, right? But in Blitz, if anyone has an extra turn in Blitz, the game is a different outcome, It's more, Blitz, I think, is more about playing tight and not getting tilted. If you lose in Blitz, you shouldn't always not blame yourself, because you should look at to improve, but fair enough amount of times, it's not your fault.
Or if you
their
make
deck
one...
did what their deck wanted to do a little bit quicker than yours did, or you simply lost the dice roll, and certain decks really profit from going first or going second.
So you hung out with them Friday night?
Yeah.
Okay,
that was good. And it was more relaxed because we were just in the hotel lobby, ordered some pizza. There's videos of this stuff floating around. I try not to record too much. I did a few shorts and stuff, but and so you played the calling Saturday.
I did. Very poorly on a 3-hour sleep.
Well,
don't
that's
recommend
why you
it.
didn't do well, huh?
No. I wouldn't have done well anyway. Look, I got exposed like a cheap date over there, I'm telling you right now. Predominantly here leading up to heading over. In Sydney, we've been playing Blitz, right? We've just came out of skirmish season. A lot of the LGSs that we go to are very Blitz focused, and 2 weeks before we went over to New Jersey, I started focusing on CC. And it's not enough. I had a great time. I did well in a bunch of armories, but doing well in your armory team does not mean you're going to do well at calling. I can tell you that right now. So I know, but geez, I had such a fun time. I played all 8 rounds, I think it was, 8 or 9 rounds. I played the whole thing. I lost so many games. I made plenty of mistakes, and I did also have a bit of bad luck, but that's because, I can't say I had bad luck. At the end of the day, if I was playing better, I think I would have
fixes your luck.
Yeah, I would have mitigated that luck.
Yep.
But there were a lot of clutch turns where I had to roll certain things and I fluffed it, or there were certain times I needed to flip a 6 and I didn't. But it did. That's the way it is, because in Sydney, geez, I'd been having the best luck with Rhino. Like, I'd been having so much good luck. I was on a streak for weeks and weeks and weeks.
CC, like, Blitz Rhino is a lot stronger than CC Rhino. I feel.
Possibly.
Like
yeah.
as a deck, he can do bursts. In Blitz, you need one of those big bursts.
But it was great.
Yeah.
Like every opponent I played in the calling, my whole 8 rounds or whatever it was awesome. Okay.
I didn't hear of anyone like cheating. I didn't hear of any like bad attitude stuff. I had
so many people like, you know, if you know me, I'm down to earth. The whole time I played every game, I sat down, I shook my opponent's hand or fist bumped him and said, "Hey, I'm Paul." At no time do I ever announce myself as a tall Timmy. I'm not a...
People didn't realize who you were sometimes, did they?
A lot of people didn't, my opponents. I had about 4 or 5 people come up to me after my game, say to me, "Why didn't you tell me you were the tall Timmy? I had no idea the whole game." There's a couple of reasons. A, we had masks on, so that threw people off.
Yes.
There were a lot
and you don't look as tall sitting down. You look tall,
but also I'd cut my hair a few weeks before.
If people haven't been watching you,
correct. So there were a whole bunch of reasons, but also I'm not a
incognito Paul.
Yeah, I'm not a self-obsessed or self-indulgent person. I don't sit down and it's not the Australian way. Australians aren't forward like that. I won't sit down.
I definitely wouldn't never say, "Hey, I'm Fluke from Fluke and Box."
Yeah,
unless someone like recognized me.
That's not
not on my business card,
and it's not an it's definitely not an Australian way. So, but I had some great games. I had some really fantastic games. Hopefully my opponents, that I played against came away from those games with a positive experience. I really do practice what I preach on my channel, and I always talked about people, where they were from, how they've been going, what have they been doing. Plenty of my opponents that I lost against were very gracious to walk me through the games, help me out, and pretty much the whole Saturday for me was plain flesh and blood. All I wanted to do was spend a whole day, because, at home I've got kids, I've got work. I wanted to play 10 hours of flesh and blood.
Yep.
And that's what I did. And it was awesome.
I did the opposite.
It was awesome.
I wanted to play, ended up filming a gazillion unboxing videos. There's the big one with James White, opening an alpha case. It's an hour and 15 minutes in now. Not every detail. Go find the videos if you're keen. But there was a lot of that type of content, because that's when Rudy spent the whole day recording, hanging out. That alpha case was insane, because James White pulled a legendary, and I got to ask some questions that people hadn't had a chance to ask before. Got some interesting answers. Very, very good day, but I actually came back to Sydney after going. I really miss playing Flesh and Blood, because I literally played 4 games. I played more than that, but I didn't play enough Flesh and Blood at the event. But I networked, talked to people. James White one of them. But it was good to actually speak in person. Can't remember Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm getting a little fuzzy on Saturday night as well.
Well, you would have been very tired.
I was.
I think I remember maybe this was the night I spent with like Chris and Richard and Salty Whale, Michael and James Curry. That group. I think we just went to Chris's hotel room, opened some packs. I was pretty tired. I wanted to get home. Also, Grace was with me, so I was trying to. If she wasn't coming to Jersey, I'd go back to New York as early as I could. Have dinner with her.
I believe Saturday night on our end, I linked back up with the North Carolina crew, and we ended up going to a Colombian restaurant near where I was staying.
Yep. And
we had a very good meal. And then I think we maybe went to a bar for a drink or two, and then we went back to my Airbnb, and I think we built decks and got prepared for the Battle Hardened.
Right.
Had a few
what was
practice
with people
games.
keep tagging us in Outbacks saying, "Hey, is this?"
Oh my gosh! You know what?
We ended up eating at Outbacks, but that's by the way, Americans. Outback Steakhouse is an American chain.
Do you want me to give you a funny story how polite American people are? Because I'm telling you right now, if I was saying this shit in Australia, I would have got called out. So for whatever reason, I thought that these few subscribers of mine from North Carolina, I thought they were from a mysterious state called South Georgia.
Right.
Now, there is no state.
I've never heard of South Georgia.
I haven't either. But for the first 2 days, when I was introducing them to people, I was saying, this is my friend Alex, this is my friend James, this is my friend Ronnie, and they're from South Georgia. And every game that I was playing in Flesh and Blood and people were saying, what are you doing tonight? I was saying, or today, or I'm hanging out with my friends from South Georgia. And at no time was I corrected. At no time. And I swear these
Either
people...
it's polite or they're like, oh,
No,
maybe
no.
they're from like the southern part of Georgia.
No. These people were looking at me like I had two heads. And even these North Carolinians were so polite that they didn't want to break my heart and tell me that I was a fucking idiot. But I realised on the third day that I was such a moron and that they were from North Carolina and South Georgia didn't even exist. And then it basically became a running joke for the last day and a half. Anyway, so another shit. If you'd said that in Australia, you'd say that to the first Aussie.
Immediately.
And they'd immediately
no
look at
such
you
place.
and they'd look at you and go, are you a fucking...
Yeah, or they'd go, bullshit.
They just look at you and go, what's wrong with you? Are you some sort of fucking dumb... Like, you would absolutely get lit up, you know. So another, the Americans are beautiful people. They definitely put up with my bullshit, that's for sure. So
Sunday ended up being more packed than I expected. Like,
yeah.
I thought it'd die off, but, obviously the Pro Tour... Was the Pro Tour final done by Sunday? No. The top eight was on.
The top eight were on
the
Friday.
Pro Tour, and they slow played that. They only did 2 matches at a time so that they could all be streamed, which is great. Plus, the calling final was on.
No, calling day 2 was on.
Sorry,
and the
day
final.
2, yeah. Like
day 2 into
the end
final.
of the calling,
Yeah.
the day 2 of the calling. But then the real big side events were hitting off, the Ultimate Pit Fight event and the Commoner event. Commoner had like 200 people sign up to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Guess who won that?
It was
Pheno Black.
That's right. But even Matty Folks, plenty of the pro players were playing in Commoner instead of the Battle Hardened.
By the way, this is why I don't like Commoner. No, it's just because you've had the same thing. You're like, you can't call a format or a game casual or not casual.
No, it's competitive.
No, but literally, Pheno Black's like, he made a video about his deck. He's like, this shouldn't exist.
Yeah, like that's...
and they're all saying, if you play Commoner to win, make sure you go second. This is the only way to win.
Yeah, it's more accessible. It's more accessible.
But it's not more fun.
No,
more balanced.
It's not saying it's more fun.
And it's definitely not more balanced, is what I'm saying.
It's just as competitive, but it's more accessible. That's it. That in my mind, that's it.
Yeah. But to me, that's like saying a bike is more accessible than a car. It's like, yes, it is. Doesn't do the same thing. Doesn't really get you prepared to drive either. If you're going to drive, you're going to need to drive. Buy a cheap car before you buy a bike.
And Flesh and Blood don't design sets. LSS doesn't design sets around Commoner. Commoner's just a byproduct.
The classic
it's
battles,
just a byproduct.
I believe they are more designed because there's some commons in the classic battles that have been spoiled. That immediately I went to, there's going to be great in Commoner, right? This is the thing. Again, part of why this channel exists. Commoner feels like one of those things where Flesh and Blood is just like, okay, guys, you want Commoner? Have it. Because the fucking community want it. I still disagree with its existence. This isn't Magic. It's not Pauper. You don't need it. The game, yes, tunics are expensive, but it's telling, like, why would you want your friend to join a game where Pheno Black, who's arguably one of the best players in the world, just slaps him? It's actually, you'll have a better chance against Pheno Black in a real event than you would in Commoner, because these guys can pick apart. They can look at it. Sorry, Pheno. They look at the cards and the maths and they go, what's broken? And it's always easier to find the broken stuff in the game mode that's not being balanced.
Hey, look, this is what spikes do. They play to exploit the game.
But that makes it worse for new players.
I know, but that's
better.
what these people do. Even my best mate there in UK, Matty Folks, he came up to me giggling like a
I
fucking...
gave him such a hard time, man.
He was giggling like a pig in shit. He was coming up to me saying how broken Chain was in Commoner, and he was showing me his cards. He's like giggling like a schoolgirl, saying, "I can't believe it. This is crazy. It's so OP. So team, Commoner does not equal casual. It doesn't mean casual."
By the way, talking of UPF, Ultimate Pit Fighter, I thought it was casual. They had a tournament. I didn't know. I would have joined. For sure would have joined. And then you've got a gold foil on the table with the final 5 players. I'm like, wait, they're giving away gold foils at a UPF event? I don't think it was announced before the event. I think they kind of let people join. But Taylor won that, which is crazy because Taylor didn't exist before that friggin' event.
Who was the pilot? Who won that?
I don't remember his name. But he's the Cavdan cosplayer.
Okay.
That's he won it. I thought he'd bought it because I heard that Exude Confidence Carolina, she won. So I assume there's only one winner. So I even told James White, he's like, who won it? I go, someone on Taylor. He goes, wait, a guy, he must have... no, I told him the guy bought it because I heard one sold. And I told him wrong information because I thought, well, the fucking...
So what'd you do on Sunday? So Sunday...
Just chilled. There were a bunch of my subscribers, Heather, Laura, and Devon.
That's right. You guys were sitting down doing
because
history
they
pack
couldn't
giveaways.
get into events and stuff. So and they were newer players. Laura definitely newer, and so was Heather was playing, whether it was a Blitz event or whatever. So I hung out with the other two, actually jammed some games. I put out a thing saying if you come and beat me, you get a pack. I went undefeated. I didn't. Devon beat me once, but I mean the people that turned up to play, they all got a pack anyway. To be honest, I was pretty wrecked. Like being on your feet in that 3 days, but it was amazing. Like you didn't feel it at the time, but again, it's all a blur now. I think because how tired you actually were, your brain just doesn't remember everything. But
yeah, I got to the Sunday and I was like, geez, I probably should do a little bit of filming. Yeah. Like I did a bit of a shorts for the call-in after each round.
It's hard. And the only way to do it, I think, it would have been to find someone local who's not that keen on playing. Go, look, here's $100 for the day. Follow me around with a camera.
Exactly.
But maybe next time.
Yeah, well, thank God I've got Princess Spike.
Because also,
Sydney.
like, look, Paul and I went with the same logic. Pro Tour 1, don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
We're part of the game.
Yep.
We're even part of the game's folklore now as content creators. If the game lasts 15, 20 years or more, people are going to go, like Tall Timmy, right?
Look,
I wouldn't have missed it for the world, but I definitely didn't want to experience it behind a camera.
When I hear the OGs talk about the first Pro Tour for Magic, you know, I get goosebumps, right? I get a visceral feeling. I get emotions of, you know, FOMO, jealousy. God, that sounds so good. I wish I was there.
We got to experience something better by all rights.
Exactly. We got to experience the same thing for Flesh and Blood. And
because James White was in the building.
How many people were saying when we landed there, like people from back home, saying, fuck, we wish we had gone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names now because I just wouldn't. There's many
we
people
probably
I
think
know.
That way the same as if I'm going to regret something, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I didn't want people to go into debt and stuff over this trip. But there were many.
You should have put that on your credit card. Taken some singles. No, it's true.
There were
I would have nearly given you the advice of like, don't miss a lifetime opportunity to.
There were people that we knew in Sydney that were umming and ahhing about going. They should have gone and they regretted it. And I'm sure there was the same thing that happened. So, again, the mandate of this podcast, my channel, if you're in two minds about going to an Uprising event, if you're in two minds about going to World Premiere, go. Just bloody go.
And by the way, if you're worried about the ticket, I'll put a public offer out there. I'll buy your ticket. Give me the promos. Like, don't use that as an excuse. I could tell you now that Dragon playmat more than likely is going to cover your ticket if you flip it on the day.
I could sell my Yorick and sleeves and all that now if I wanted to.
And it would have covered our...
Yeah,
right now, it covers you. Like, listen, if you can't afford to go, I'll buy you a ticket. Give me the promos. Like,
There you go.
go play. Because you're going to get 6 packs. Remember, part of your entry is 6 packs. Every win is an extra pack. 6 wins is a box.
And I might announce this right here, right now. I'm going to be going to the world premiere, and I'll be playing, of course, but I will be there with the new Battles deck.
Yes.
Okay, with the Dory Reiner. Of course, I'm going to be playing Reiner, and I'm going to have a booster box with me. Yet to be confirmed what set it'll be, but there'll be different moments throughout the day. I'll be set up with a mat, and I'll have those decks out. And if you play me and beat me, you'll get a booster pack. So please, if you see me floating
By the way,
around,
that means you have to play Dory because he won't.
that's right. I'm not playing Dory. No way. I'm playing Reiner. But if you beat me, you get a pack. If you
definitely go to that event. By the way, there's a rumor that some bigwigs from LSS are coming to the Sydney event. We've yet to get confirmation, but don't miss it. Again, it's a world premiere. It's like a week earlier than the set, a full week.
If you're in New Zealand and you're in Southeast Asia, I'd really encourage you to come.
If you can tie it into a work trip or family visit or whatever, I think it's around 200 people have signed up already.
200 teams?
No, people.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think Sydney will hit 200 teams. That's a lot of people. That's a lot. Maybe. What did we have at Nationals?
I was thinking we'd get 100 teams, 300 people.
100 teams. Sorry, that's what you're saying. 100 teams. Yeah.
100 teams is 300 people.
Yeah. Again, I don't really care. I want to go and play, but I think it'll be a very big event. It hasn't been a big event in Australia for a while.
So we have the premiere on the Friday.
Friday's a sealed event, so you get 6 packs and like an hour to build a deck.
That's
all
right.
by yourself. It's not draft. It's not super complicated. You just...
Then the calling starts on the Saturday.
Team Blitz.
And then if you don't, day 2, I'm presuming
there's a Battle Harden.
Battle Harden on the Sunday. What a great
But also
long
side
weekend.
events. You can buy playmats for tickets. Like I'm saying, guys, there's only 3 of these events happening that weekend in the world. If you can go, you can probably profit from selling the promos immediately anyway.
And it's in Sydney City.
It's expensive. Paul's talked about this. It's overpriced, but you will probably be able to sell those promos because you get dragon sleeves, dragon playmat, 6 packs of Uprising. Technically, you can immediately drop the sealed event and sell your sealed. Like, I'm telling you, you'll get the tickets back if you don't do anything. If you just want to turn up, 100% the ticket money back. But anyway.
So let's go back to Sunday at the Pro Tour. I played in the Battle Hard and I had a fantastic time. And, again, big shout out to, another cosplayer. She dressed up as Icelander. She's big into Twitter, Elaine. I paired into her at the...
She's got a new podcast coming.
Yes, that's right, with Melody. Melody, how are you? And we paired into each other at Battle Harden and another tight game, but she got me. Jeez, it was fantastic game. And she basically got asked on her Twitter, she said, what was your favourite game during the weekend? And she actually called me out and said, playing against the Tall Timmy was her favourite game. So, I had a spectacular game, and Elaine, well done on that win. So Sunday was awesome. I had some really good opponents and just basically calling out the people I know by name. But I'll do a deep dive on my channel to go into all that. But that was fantastic. And then... Again, Sunday I did a lot of filming. I did a lot of little captures with other content creators. I'm drip feeding them on my channel, just little grabs I did with people. And then I did the old Korean barbecue on the Hudson River in New Jersey. Beautiful location on the Sunday night. And then we had a nice long Korean barbecue. We had all intentions of hitting the bars on Sunday night for one last night. We got to our first bar at Hoboken, had one drink, and basically done. All the tiredness caught up, and it's like, it's time to go back.
Also, there was that immediate, sadness. It's like, oh, got to think of going home now, the trip, saying goodbyes. Like, I did, basically, I made one more, the video I posted yesterday, me and at Saint's house with Richard opening some alpha. That was... the Monday. That was it, yeah. I tried to just see him one last time. Say it was amazing. Like, he donated an alpha case, like, to get open. I mean, donated is a strong word, but he let people open it. He let the public open it. That's on top of, like, paying for dinners when he was out, working out CFB drama behind the scenes, and basically making sure everyone's welcome, because it's close to his city, his home. But it definitely the star, like, he did a lot.
He is.
He did a lot.
Look, Saint's an amazing person. Met him for the first time. Really did treat us.
Yep.
And generous with his time. Very hospitable. There's not much else I can say about that. We're fortunate. We're living in a time in flesh and blood. Even though the game's expanded, the game's growing, it's still a small community.
Yeah. Well, you got to talk, or like if you were there, you got to definitely shake James White's hand if you wanted to. Take a photo if you wanted to.
Let's talk about that interaction, James White.
That was fun.
It was.
Well, look, he did not have to spend that much time talking to everyone and signing and taking photos, because even at the banquet, the second he walked in the building, a line formed.
He was mobbed.
And it never went away. It was his birthday.
Oh, really?
Did I tell you about my interaction with him the very first time?
No.
So I lined up.
On the Thursday?
Yeah. No intention of taking a photo or getting anything signed. I'm not wired that way. I don't want someone to sign something for me or, like, take a photo. Like, to me, if I'm a fan of yours, I want the experience of, like, shaking your hand and telling you I'm a fan. That's what I want. Get to him. He's like, John, how are you? Good to see you. Make sure we hang out this weekend. I go, you look tired. And he goes, I'm very tired. I haven't slept yet. I go, do you want me to thin out the crowd a bit for you? I'm Lebanese.
You did tell me this.
And he laughed, which is a good sign. And that was that. He forced me to take a photo, like legit. It's like, no, we're taking a photo. And it's like my favorite photo from the event. Turned out very good. I'm happy I have that. Now that I've got it, I'm happy I did. But it was impossible to, like, get time with him, because it was maybe, like, on a negative side, people to be careful of, like, the man's there. It's his event. He was very clear about not taking photos and signing unless it's between certain times. Like, he literally dedicated time to be at the booth and do it. And it wasn't, by the way, there were artists there selling signatures. James White didn't sell shit. He could have charged $150 a signature and made $10,000-$15,000 easily.
Easy.
He didn't. But you gotta read between the lines. A very nice, generous Kiwi man. Leave the guy alone. Go up and be quick. Don't take, like, people were lining up and then their mates were texting their mate, and then their mates would bring over playmats and stuff to sign. Like, someone tried to sell an alpha box, an empty one signed by him. Guys, he's still human, right? And what you don't want is to turn it into where he turns up to events and he's got a security guard or a assistant, and he doesn't do anything. Be respectful. Listen, if you want something signed, go up to be I'm a huge fan. Please sign this for me. One fucking thing. Be be empathetic. Look around. There's 1,300 people.
I think it's easy for us to say that in a way because, again, I don't want to go on against the cultural differences,
sure.
But, the Australian, the Kiwi ways, we're not, how do I put this? We're respectful, and we don't, when it comes to people of prominence or inverted commas, famous people, we like to give them space here, okay? Like, I guess it may be a cultural thing. I don't know what you think, but for example, I saw James, throughout the whole weekend, okay, in a distance with lines and all of that. And from my perspective, I didn't want to take up his time, okay? I literally, the guy lives a stone throw away from us. I could jump on a plane and, beat his front door in 2.5 hours.
We should fly him here for Thunder. That's what we should do.
It's going to happen. So, I didn't really want to hop in a line and spend 10, 15 minutes, whatever, chatting to the guy when there's folks that have lined up for hours that may be from overseas or from some small town in America.
It might be their only chance
it'll be their only chance to meet him. No, and I just felt like I didn't want to take that time, so I didn't do that. I just respected him. I didn't, I'm not that way inclined anyway. It's just not the way we're built over here. I just don't conduct myself that way.
Part of it is he's not built that way. Like he's also not acting like a celebrity. There's no security. There's no like assistant coming and grabbing him saying, hey, like, because he was late to everything because he'd be in line and it's supposed to end at a certain time.
And I just saw him briefly. I think it was the Sunday. He was walking out the front and I had a play mat that I really wanted to give him. And I was out the front. I think I was talking to Team Covenant at the time, possibly. Shout out, love you guys. And
were they both there, or was just Zach?
No, it was just Zach.
Yeah,
and I was talking to him.
Great guy in person, like even
I'm
better.
Telling you, dude. Yeah.
Everyone's great,
dude. He's so lovely,
except for Matt Folks.
And what a head! Of
Matt Folks told me he'd win, and he fucking didn't.
What a head of hair! Zach has a head of hair, all right. Jeez, he's got some locks on him.
Yes,
and anyway. James came and I just went up to him and I just said, listen, he was like in a rush. Yes. He was obviously rushing to get somewhere. I just said, hey, James, here's the mat. I don't want to take any time. And he just said, I've got your number. I'll call you soon. We'll have a drink. And I just said, all good. Like it didn't affect me in the slightest. Like I didn't go. Basically what I'm saying is I didn't go to Jersey to meet James, or take that away from other people. Because like I said, like you said, I'm sure there was plenty of people at that event that spent time with James, had a photo, got a signature, and maybe that'll be the only time they'll see James and experience that.
I don't have any issue with that. I said, I'm more talking about the people. It felt like the entitlement, the 10, 15 items you're carrying around.
It's
where there's like a line of 50 people, course. and you're like, but can I take a photo on this phone? But can I take a photo on this phone?
But like I was told it is, but. It's funny that you say that, though. I was told by some of my American subscribers, and it's very unnatural for me, probably is for you too, that when it comes to self-promotion, I was told anyway, okay, this isn't my opinion, I was told this, that, Americans, if they think that you're, inverted commas, famous or a YouTube content creator, they actually expect a certain amount of self-promotion.
Yeah.
They expect you to conduct yourself in a way that you are, don't take this out of context, above, or not above, but you're, they're very much into status and
they have more of a
class
system than we do. Yes.
We don't have that here. Okay, in Australia, I'm not saying everyone's equal here, but we're not like that here. Okay,
it's a bit less people worship.
Exactly, we don't have.
Oh look, I've run into Tony Abbott on a plane. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, people don't care.
Do you know what I mean? He's the ex-prime minister. Like, in the US, when people see the ex-president, they go Mr. President.
Yeah,
no one calls Tony Abbott prime minister anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just say, "Hey, Tony, how the fuck are you?"
No one even does that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that's my point. It's basically like
it's different.
It's a different culture.
Maybe it's a slight cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing.
But again, trust me. Even from a cultural thing, it can be right and wrong. Like, be respectful. He was giving so much of himself, and be aware of like how much it takes out of someone. Like, spend their entire event for you, like standing basically the whole time to take photos and sign stuff.
But did you feel as the event wore on, more people were coming up to you?
Yes.
Like from Thursday to Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. Like,
because people started to recognize me with the mask and everything, going, wait, or like people told them, hey, that's Fluke. I think that happened.
Yeah, Sunday, I felt like I had...
I think Sunday was the busiest day. It felt the busiest.
Like the amount of bloody playmats and cards and photos that I got asked to on Sunday, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the hell? Do you really want to see how bad my handwriting is? Like, it's absolutely disgraceful. I kept having asked,
do you want me to sign as Fluke or John? Or
yeah,
both?
yeah.
Like,
it was,
I've never signed anything before for like a fan or like another person that wants to commemorate an event with me. I've never...
But if you see, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of Fluke here too. If you see us at any of these
come
events
up to me.
overseas,
I'm not James
come
White,
up to us and talk to us. Don't feel... Because, again, I was told through some of my subscribers in American is people might get hesitant of coming up to you if
yeah.
they think you're a inverted commas big deal. Geez, we are not a big deal.
No,
I
no.
can tell you that.
But also,
Come up
James
to
White
us.
is the
Talk
same.
to
I
us.
bet you James White would say the same. He'd be like, I'm not a big deal. Come up to me. I'm saying be respectful, but be respectful with me too. Like if you come up and I need to go and play my event, common sense is no one did this to me, but if I had an event, common sense says like take up enough time or the right amount of time if I also have to run to an event, or if there's 50 people waiting to talk to me, take up a reasonable amount of time. Take up enough to get your fill, but...
You saying you don't want anyone to slap your ass? Is that what you're telling me?
Did ass slapping happen that I wasn't aware of?
I wish it
James,
did.
Did James White
I
get
wish
his
I
ass
did.
slapped?
I'd love my ass slapped before round one of the calling.
Oh, jeez. No, I didn't. No. Well, I think it's probably a good place to end. We're an hour and 44 minutes in. By the way, we could talk forever. We drive an hour every Friday to Blood Rush, and we pretty much talk the whole time on the way up, way back. Any last thoughts? Don't worry about the list. We're never going to get through the list. I had a list printed. The main thing was we wanted to catch up about the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
That's what we did. Now you know what the podcast will sound like.
Yeah, what does it sound like? What's the audio like? What's the
let
film?
us know.
Let us know.
We will have some sections. I think we maybe should have done E-Strike versus C-Strike earlier in the pod, but we'll do it next time. Our logo, thanks to Paper Collective, although I think they contracted an artist, so I'll find out if there was someone else. But E-Strike versus C-Strike is going to be us disagreeing on stuff. But we actually do disagree. I think E-Strike's better. He thinks C-Strike.
E-Strike is
C-Strike
shit.
being Celestial Cataclysm.
E-Strike is the most...
But we're going to make sure there's difference of opinion on this podcast as often as we can.
Yeah. 100%.
Even if it's just purely for devil's advocacy. In Arabic, because you have some Arabic heritage, do you know what... a devil's advocate.
Just say the bloody word.
Well, in Arabic, it's the devil's lawyer.
Oh, really?
Which is a way better way to say it. It just doesn't sound as good.
Okay.
Like the guy defending the devil is like, does it make sense?
Team,
Like advocate
tell everyone out there what I wanted the name of this podcast to be, but he bloody refused to say it.
I didn't refuse. Oh, you wanted the Lebanese one. What did you want it to be called?
What was it like? Flesh and blood down under Yalla or something?
Yalla.
Hey, I opened up, I swear, the first pack of flesh and blood to be opened up in the Middle East was me. And that was in my layover in Dubai.
Can't be the first
it
one.
Must have been.
I'm sure, no, because they got like magic collectors and stuff. Those guys would have bought packs on eBay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Show me the receipts, baby. I have a photo of me opening up a pack in the Dubai airport.
Maybe you are.
And as far as I'm concerned, I opened up the first pack of flesh and blood. And I can tell you right now, if any of you out there from the Middle East and you have an LGS or want to run an armory,
for sure,
please contact me. I would love to get behind. My grandmother is from Lebanon. I would love to get behind the first armory in the Middle East.
Look, I have a lot of family in Lebanon. Let's
make it happen.
But Lebanon's like going through some stuff right now.
All right, where are we going to have it? Israel? I'm not fussed.
Can't say that, Paul.
Wherever. I don't know.
No, I'm kidding. I don't have a horse in that race. But no, guys, segments will come. Guests are 100% coming. So we want this, but we talk enough as it is with each other. We want guests, so that'll happen. Some of you will be the guests. Like 100. I had one stream with Silly Turtle.
Who's Silly Turtle?
So one of my like OG fans, OG members. He's a guy from WA. He's did he win or
what's the username? Username
Silly
Turtle.
Yeah,
okay.
He wants to start turtle gaming in WA. Anyway, the point was I got him on to just chat to him, and it ended up being one of the best like chats. So we should definitely bring some of our. We could even just do a giveaway and get a fan on as the guest of the show.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Why not? But that's it. Closing thoughts.
Welcome
to Funder.
Welcome to Funder. This is amazing. I hope it's been a good experience. We're going to take you on some serious journeys, and I can tell you, once we hit our stride, once we hit our rhythm, it's going to get pretty wild.
So, guys, subscribe. We're at like 150, 160 as of filming.
Yeah.
We'll do some giveaways. Also, help us grow because we will probably get extra promos and stuff from LSS as well. So, I do have an extra set of heralds because I won an extra set of heralds. I will give it away on this channel. But guys, subs
and these are weekly, right? Weekly episodes. We're committing to these weekly.
We're planning to on Thursdays our time. Yeah. But this first one might take me a minute to.
Yeah, it could be released on a Friday, but they're weekly releases.
Weekly at this point.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're gonna sign off. It's late here, so we're gonna go back to families and duties and get ready for tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. We don't have an outro. We haven't thought about that.
You have a good night and cheers.
Good night, guys.